Jared Anthony Higgins, or as he was more popularly known as, JUICEWLRD, was one of the most iconic figures of the SoundCloud rap era. He reached feats other artists could only dream of, but how did he do it? Well, this is the story of one of the greatest artists of the modern era. This is the story of JUICEWLRD.
From the unknown, I run away, I don't think I'm singing. Whoa, 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 like a crossbow, since the dark place shot. Ain't no right way, just the wrong way. I problem stop, styrofoam, my world revolves around the black. The same black hole that's in place of my soul.
On December 2nd, 1998, Jared was born in Chicago, where he lived with his mother, father, and brother. At the age of 3, his parents would divorce, leaving his mother to raise him, and limiting the contact he and his father would have. The year after, at the age of 4, his mother would put him in piano lessons where he could spark his music interest. As he got older, he listened to primarily rock because he lived in a house with his mother who was very conservative and religious, and didn't really like the vulgar tones of rap. He would later be exposed to it at his cousin's house, and because he couldn't play them at home, he would recite them back to himself and would fill in the missing pieces he forgot, causing him to strengthen his freestyling ability. The high school he went to was regarded by the Washington Post as one of America's most challenging high schools. This school also came with a radio station where, while in high school, JUICEWLRD's friend would invite him onto the radio station where he would freestyle. JUICEWLRD was already known at the school as a freestyler, and after his classmates realized what he could do off the head, they started motivating him to start recording his own music, which caused the young Jared to create a SoundCloud under the alias Juice the Kid.
Freestyle game crazy. I'm finna make it insane.
Insane.
Couple words off the brain, switch it to the membrane. I shoot threes like Steve Nash, yes boy, I straight drain. People say I'm crazy, but my bars going insane. You hear me on the radio, spitting radio waves.
This is where he would drop the mixtape What Is Love, with the only song being on the mixtape being Forever, which even though it's lack of production, is still very good.
Forever, forever, she stay on my mind like forever, 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 forever. For worse or for better, I'm willing to fight for her heart, it's a pleasure.
At this time in his life, Jared was an avid drug user, having been taking lean since the 6th grade and also dabbling in perks and Xans, and had also experimented with cigarettes, which are all things you can hear a lot about in his music. After JUICEWLRD had been making music for a little while, a producer by the name of Sidepiece would have found him while scrolling on Twitter. This will later lead Sidepiece introducing Jared's music to his friend Nick Mura, who also joined in on helping the young artist by sending beats. Juice the Kid now had higher production and was coming up with a sound unique to him. Now with a small team around him, he was trying to take his career to the next level, and with this came a rebrand. Juice the Kid was now JUICEWLRD. Now even with these small ups, they weren't paying the bills, so young JUICEWLRD had to get a job at a car factory using the help of his cousin. This didn't last long as he realized he would just rather pursue music. After this realization, JUICEWLRD would work on a 5-song EP with 2 of his most celebrated pieces of music on that EP, which was called 999, and the songs I'm talking about in particular are Moonlight and Lucid Dreams. This version of Lucid Dreams didn't immediately break the internet, but did creep in enough room for young Jared to slip through. Now let's skip to the beginning of 2018, or to be specific, March of 2018, where JUICEWLRD only had a couple of thousand followers on SoundCloud, but this would all change.
They're right in my brain, love, these are sad.
Wake up the next day and a money caller with a new woman. Tell me that she from Philly and she love women. She'll be gone by tomorrow, who am I kidding? All this jealousy and agony that I sit in. I'm a jealous boy, I really feel like John Lennon.
The song I just played was All Girls Are the Same. This song was originally placed on his EP Nothing Is Different, which originally interested Cole Bennett and also got his name out there so much Baby was offering him a $3 million contract, which JUICEWLRD happily obliged to. Now as a signed artist, JUICEWLRD could focus on music and dropped the historical Goodbye and Good Riddance album. This collection of music debuted at number 50 on the US Billboard and peaked at number 3 in R&B and rap albums, and has 2 songs with over 1 billion streams and 2 songs on and on the US Top 100, with Lucid Dreams peaking at number 2. All this happening is what changed everything for him. He went from just a signed artist with some buzz to now a full-on star in the rap scene. This meant interviews, shows, and radio talks. But while all this was happening, on June 18th of 2018, XXXTentacion would tragically be murdered. And Juice WRLD, who had met X and was even a fan of X, would drop an EP called Too Soon, where in the first song he talks about the sad reality we live in where the young stars are not making it past the age of 21. In the song, Juice WRLD sings,
All legends fall in a making. What's up? Say true. Okay. Dying. Leaving you. What's the 27 club? We're making it past 21.
which sadly would foreshadow events that would happen to Juice WRLD later on. In the second song, Juice WRLD talks about his life and what it's come to the point he's just rich and blind. After this, Juice WRLD would start breaking the internet by freestyling and showing he wasn't talentless compared to other artists that were coming around relatively around that time. Later that year, the artist Sting sued Juice WRLD for using the song Shape of My Heart in the sample of his hit song Lucid Dreams, which caused Juice WRLD to lose 85% of the revenue on that song. In early 2019, Juice WRLD dropped Death Race for Love, which would be another one of his classic pieces, which had songs like Empty, Robbery, Syphilis, and many more hits. At this time, Juice WRLD was at his peak. He was a mentor to a young and up-and-coming artist who you might know by now named The Kid Laroi, and was one of the top artists in the world. And that October also had one of his biggest songs, Juice WRLD featuring NBA Youngboy, Bandit.
I say, I don't need no Molly to be savage. Okay. But when I want a Molly, I feel savage. See the definition of a bad bitch stolen. I'm the definition of a bandit.
At this point, Juice WRLD had reached the top, but once you hit the top, the only place to go is down. On December 2nd, Juice WRLD turned 21, and 6 days later, tragedy struck.
And TMZ is reporting rapper Juice WRLD is dead after suffering a seizure at Chicago's Midway Airport.
I remember walking off and seeing through the window all the police and shit. I'm thinking like, what the fuck? They say, everybody get your passports out.
Some alley and put his hands up to grab me, to reach for me, like for help. And he sees that.
And Jay had a seizure. Started having a seizure.
The 21-year-old, who is named Billboard's Best New Artist this year, suffered a medical emergency at Chicago's Midway Airport.
Juice WRLD was on a private jet when the pilot called authorities because the passengers, Juice WRLD and his friends, had illegal drugs and guns on them. As they were landing, the police were waiting outside of the plane, and it was alleged that Juice WRLD took some of the pills to hide them, but ultimately had a seizure and was given Narcan, which was ineffective, causing Juice WRLD's untimely death. Since dying, Juice WRLD has put out 2 posthumous albums, with Legends Never Dying being the 5th best-selling album in all of 2020, and Fighting Demons peaking at #1 rap and R&B album. He has been on songs with Eminem, who was an idol for Juice WRLD, and went a long way from just being that kid freestyling at school and went to become one of the biggest artists in the world. This is the story of Juice WRLD. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.
She told me it would take 10 minutes to break my heart. Oh no, she didn't. Fuck living, I'ma drown in my sorrow. Fuck giving, I'ma take, not borrow.